welcome to SAE Unplugged. I'm your host, Grayson Brulte. As we head into 2024, the autonomous vehicle and truck industries are at a crossroads that is being fed by special interests, misconceptions, and, frankly, downright lies. Headlines, misleading tweets, and a Netflix movie are all feeding into this supposed hysteria. What hides behind this layer of inaccuracy and hysteria is the truth. The truth hides behind the inaccuracy and hysteria. The truth is that the autonomous vehicle and truck industries are healthy, and they are thriving. That's right, the autonomous vehicle and truck industries are healthy, and they are thriving. Waymo, Zoox, and Motional all continue to make progress in developing and scaling their robotaxi fleets. Kodiak, Torque, Wabi, and Aurora are continuing to make progress in developing and scaling their autonomous truck fleets. Waymo's generating revenue today. Kodiak's also generating revenue. Waymo's robotaxis are performing at an extremely high level in San Francisco, Phoenix, and Los Angeles. Last week, I had the honor to test out the latest version of the Waymo driver in San Francisco, and I came away impressed. The Waymo driver handled some very complicated intersections in San Francisco flawlessly. Go Team Waymo on that one. Well done. I can't wait to see as the driver continues to improve over the years to come. During that same trip to San Francisco, I had the opportunity to go for a ride in the latest version of the Kodiak truck, on surface streets and highway, no less. Truck performed well. Some complex turns and changes on the interchange, some merges. The Kodiak truck did extremely well. Looking at the market today for robotaxis, the market is clearly dominated by Waymo for good reason. Their tech works, and they're taking a diligent approach to rolling out and scaling the robotaxi service. Waymo's engaging with the local communities and doing community outreach, such as the autonomous ride-hailing tour in Los Angeles. The Waymo tour is a wonderful way to build trust and engage the local communities to demonstrate the true power and safety of autonomous vehicles. Autonomous vehicles are good for society, and they will have tremendous benefits in the communities where they operate. Let's go in the Wayback Machine here. An autonomous vehicle tour, it's not new. It was pioneered by SAE. Marcy Hyman led the project, and she did a bang-up wonderful job. SAE hosted a series of demo days in Michigan, Florida, and California to demonstrate to the public the true power of autonomous vehicles. SAE demo days were ahead of their time. Individuals came from thousands of miles away to ride an autonomous vehicle. We saw that firsthand at SAE demo days. Those individuals came to experience the future. They came to ride in an autonomous vehicle. SAE did it right, and now Waymo's following SAE's lead by hosting their own version of demo days. When the public is engaged in the role of autonomous vehicles, they are engaged with the technology. They feel part of the process. They want to learn. This is the beauty of engaging with the public instead of just dropping vehicles in their community. They believe, and they want to become a part of it. The companies become part of the community, and the community becomes one of your biggest champions, one of your biggest advocates, is they're able to meet you, ask questions, experience a ride in an autonomous vehicle prior to the launch of commercial operations, and they can shake your hand, and there's a phone number for them to call if they have an issue. Engaging with the community and building trust is one of the best ways to overcome the misconceptions and downright lies that are being spread by special interests. Let us not forget that autonomous vehicles are the future, and at some point in the future, they'll be part of every community around the world. While autonomous vehicles create value in the communities that they operate in, autonomous trucks will soon be the backbone of the United States supply chain. Autonomous trucks have the power to lower inflation. Consumers are suffering under the burdens of high inflation, and Virginia Governor Glenn Youngkin sees a recession coming in 2024. As consumers are suffering under the impact of inflation and everyday expenses and increased housing costs. The bottom line is, Main Street's not healthy from an economic standpoint. Total household debt rose by 1.3% to reach $17.29 trillion. That's trillion with a T, not a B with a billions. That's $17.29 trillion in the third quarter of 2023, according to the Federal Reserve Bank of New York. Furthermore, mortgage balances increased to $12.14 trillion. Credit card balances increased to $1.08 trillion. Student loan balances increased to $1.6 trillion. Think about this. What kind of society do we live in where U.S. consumers owe more to go to school at $1.6 trillion than they owe on their credit cards at $1.08 trillion? Something's wrong with it. How are you going to get out from $1.6 trillion in this economy? Somebody explain that to me. Write to us. I want to hear your opinion on that. Auto loan balances increased to $1.6 trillion, continuing an upward trajectory that we've seen since 2011. The data is clear. Consumers are using debt instruments. That's right. When you go to college, you take out a loan. It is a debt instrument. It's the same thing as going on a vacation, charging on your credit card, and hoping and praying you can pay it one day. It is a debt instrument. Consumers using those debt instruments, such as credit cards, are putting food on their table. Okay, that's okay. You got to survive. The bottom line is consumers are suffering under high inflation in this stagnant economy. In the future, when autonomous trucks scale and begin operating in multiple states and fleet sizes that are measured by the tens of thousands, inflation will have a new enemy. Its name, autonomous trucking. That's right, its name's autonomous trucking, not Jerome Powell. Autonomous trucking will help to lower inflation. Autonomous trucks will be able to lower the cost of shipping and ensure that household goods are delivered on time and at a cheaper price than their counterparts. Trucking is expensive today because there's a lack of drivers. There's a driver shortage. This is causing the rates to go up to make up for the shortfall. Enter inflation. Autonomous trucks will solve the driver shortage problem. Autonomous trucks will lower the cost to ship goods. But this is not what certain special interests want you to believe. Those certain special interests want you to believe that autonomous trucks are bad. Those certain special interests want you to believe that autonomous trucks are evil. Those certain special interests want you to believe that autonomous trucks are reckless. More importantly, those special interests want you to believe that autonomous trucks are not safe. Newsflash to those special interest groups. These are all factually incorrect, and I'll use a very blunt term, lies. Special interest groups are taking a broadside attack on the autonomous vehicle and truck industries by lumping everyone all together. Why? Very simply, to protect their own interests. The public is seeing right through it. And on X, community notes are firing back and putting notes below their tweets calling select in certain posts misleading and false. The community has spoken. The community is smart. The community is fighting back and pushing back against the lies. In my opinion, to counteract these attacks, the autonomous vehicle and truck industries need to take a unified approach to autonomy while having their own industry advocate groups to push back in their own lanes. Very similar to the way that Community Notes on X is doing it. The autonomous vehicle industry should follow Waymo's lead, partner, and supercharge the outreach to local communities where they plan to operate. The autonomous trucking industry should explore creating their own industry advocacy group that focuses solely on autonomous trucking. Each use case for autonomy is different. Autonomy is not a one-size-fits-all solution. Autonomous trucks are going to be deployed on highways and operate in industrial areas as opposed to local communities. Then there's the regulatory aspects. Autonomous trucks have different regulatory issues as compared to autonomous vehicles. Yet, at this point, there is no clear path to telling these stories and pushing back on the narrative and the lies that are being spread by special interest. The time to stop this nonsense is now, before the special interests drive a wedge between the public and the policymakers. This is their goal. They want to drive the wedge to ensure that autonomous vehicles and autonomous trucks never truly scale. Why? Because they want to protect their own interests. They are not interested in innovating or changing the status quo. Just look at what happened with Yellow. A certain special interest group led to the downfall of Yellow, a 99-year-old company which was the third largest carrier in trucking's less-than-truckload sector. The failure of Yellow was the largest ever failure of a trucking company in the United States. This did not have to happen, but Yellow was forced by the special interest group because the special interest group would not compromise for the betterment of the company and, most importantly, its employees. Yellow today is currently in the process of selling off their real estate and terminal assets in bankruptcy, which will raise roughly $2 billion. Assets can be used to raise cash, yet there was no compromise from the special interests that targeted Yellow. With that decision, 30,000 jobs, including 22,000 unionized workers, were eliminated overnight with no notice before the holidays, adding insult to injury. A very sad ending for a 99-year-old company. It's the same ending that those same special interests would like to see happen to the entire autonomous trucking and autonomous vehicle industries. They want it to collapse. Why? Because they are not willing to look forward and embrace the future. Instead, they are trapped in the past and wrapped in fear. A fear so great that they are willing to bankrupt companies and kill jobs just to protect the status quo. We cannot let this happen, and we will not let this happen, as autonomy is good for the economy. Autonomous trucks and autonomous vehicles will create new high-paying jobs. Autonomous vehicles become part of our communities. Autonomous trucks will deliver our goods and Christmas gifts. All of this and more is possible if we just stand up to the special interest and make a wrong a right. The world is watching. The next move is ours. Question is, who steps up and makes the first move? Let us know who you think will make that move and what the potential outcomes might be by sending an email to podcast@sae.org. That's podcast@sae.org. Today is tomorrow. Tomorrow is today. The future is a vibrant and healthy autonomous vehicle and truck industry.
SAE International makes no representations as to the accuracy of the information presented in this podcast. The information and opinions are for general information only. SAE International does not endorse, approve, recommend, or certify any information, product, process, service, or organization presented or mentioned in this podcast.